You're watching Satluj TV News. I'm Angus Scott in London. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Bilawal Butto Zardari has claimed India is abusing its presidency of the G20 by holding a tourism conference in the portion of disputed Kashmir it controls. It's the first diplomatic event in the territory since Pakistan suspended trade and diplomatic ties with India in 2019, when New Delhi imposed direct rule on the part of Muslim-majority Kashmir it controls and enforced a heavy security lockdown. Mr. Butto Zardari said it was a continuation in what he believed was becoming the norm of India's arrogance on the international stage in an interview in Muzaffarabad, the capital of Pakistan-administered Kashmir. He went on to state that India was abusing their presidency of the G20 to push their colonial agenda, but if they think that by holding one event in occupied Kashmir they can silence the voice of the Kashmiri people, then I believe that they are truly mistaken. The Indian-controlled portion has been roiled for decades by an insurgency seeking independence or a merger with Pakistan, with tens of thousands of civilians, soldiers and Kashmiri rebels killed in the conflict. Non-G20 member Pakistan controls a smaller part and says holding the tourism meeting this week in the territory violates international law, UN Security Council resolutions and bilateral agreements. The G20 participants, made up of the European Union and the world's 19 top economies, have been, quote, put in a pretty awkward spot, the minister added, saying, "Those countries who make it a point to remind us and protest how outrageous it is that international law has been violated in Europe, I believe that they should be just as outraged when international law is violated in Kashmir." China, which also claims the Indian state of Arunachal Pradesh in full as part of Tibet, has stood by Pakistan in condemning the meeting to promote tourism in the area, renowned for its lakes, meadows and snow-capped mountains. The crackdown in Indian-administered Kashmir was ordered by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who since coming to power in 2014 has increasingly used religious polarisation to mobilise the Hindu majority. Since the 2019 constitutional changes in Kashmir, any dissent has been largely crushed, although young men continue to join the insurgency. Dissent has been criminalised, media freedoms curbed and public protest limited, in what critics say is a drastic curtailment of civil liberties by India. India is attempting to portray what officials have called normalcy and peace in the violence-racked region by inviting the international community to a sprawling, well-guarded venue on the shores of Dal Lake in Srinagar. But over the past week, residents have chafed under stepped-up security measures. Hundreds have been detained in police stations and thousands, including shopkeepers, have received calls from officials warning them against any signs of protest or trouble. Mr. Butto Zardari finally added that one of the most militarised zones in the world can never be seen as normal. You've been watching Satluj TV News and you can find more stories in detail on our channel, that's Satnet News. So it's worth clicking on that subscribe button to make sure you get to see stories as they're broadcast. And don't forget, if you have any comments or opinions on this story or indeed any of our other stories, you can comment below or drop us a direct message at message@satlujtv.com. We'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, thanks for watching. For Satluj TV News, I'm Angus Scott in London.